Hello there, it's been a while, I've been very busy, but I thought I'd make just a short new video for the channel so you have something to watch in the meantime before I get to bigger projects. So today I wanted to talk about Ascendancy. It's a game from 1995 and it's a 4X strategy game set in space. I think the most commonly known comparison would be Master of Orion, and it was actually released right between Master of Orion 1 and 2. I think it's a very neat game that I used to play a lot, and when I jumped right back into it this time around, I also almost forgot the time and played for quite some time before making this video. So in comparison to the Master of Orion game, I think it looks a lot better. All the pre-rendered images that were typical for the time in the 90s, especially the CD version that came with a bit of more animations. And the other thing that I kind of appreciated, especially for playing it nowadays, is that it's a bit simpler, it's a bit more streamlined. Obviously, with a lack of complexity comes also a bit of lacking depth compared to Master of Orion, but it's quite easy to get into and you really get into the flow of building your colonies and exploring the universe, researching and all that good stuff that you know from 4X games. The 4X in the genre definition stands for explore, expand, exploit and exterminate. So that sums it up quite nicely. You're flying around with your spaceships in the star map and you discover different planets, and then you build your colonies there, try to exploit the resources and use that resources to build up the colonies themselves and your space fleet, and in the end you attack the other alien species with your fleet and try to dominate the whole galaxy. You can select from a wide variety of alien species, which all come with their own special abilities. Some of those are really useful, others not so much, but there will definitely be something for everyone in there. Another really cool feature of the game is the big and expansive research tree. You can even rotate it in 3D, but it's not really necessary. You can just keep the view angle at the normal and just select the circles to do your research. Unfortunately, a lot of the research is really not that useful. The game has a ton of completely useless buildings and useless components for your ships. Talking about ship components, you can design your own ships, but it's really a very rudimentary and simple system. Depending on the size of your ship, you have different slots and you can just slot in weapons, shields and other systems in there, but it doesn't matter where you position them, so there's not a lot of strategy involved, and normally you just go for an assortment of the strongest weapon, shields and some other useful subsystems. There's also no way to customize the look of the ships. Depending on the race you're playing, they will all look more or less the same. And you can't create any blueprints, so every time you create a ship you have to do it all over again. Which brings me to another point of critique for this game that is typical for a lot of these games at that era. There is not really working automation in the game, so basically you have to do everything on your own, and with managing a larger and larger empire, you really have to spend a lot of time micromanaging every colony, telling them what they should build, moving every ship around, and you don't have any fleets or other things that will help you with this. So this becomes quite tedious in the end game. On the bright side, the game is not scaling that much, so at some point you really don't need more colonies and you just stop with the ones you have, and you don't need a giant fleet if you only use the biggest ships, so that makes things a bit easier. The game was praised by the press back then for its cool graphics and the overall gameplay, so it had some really positive reviews. But the magazines really complained about the quality of the AI. The AI opponents are really quite dumb and they are not really a big threat. For me personally, I didn't mind that too much, as I like playing games that don't pose such a big challenge. For me it's more about dominating the whole universe, and if the other races are not attacking me and are not such a big threat, but I can just go around and destroy everything. That's fine by me. But there has also been, I think it was an unofficial update that you can install patch which helps the AI, doesn't make it much smarter, but it gives it some advantages to increase the challenge for the game. So would I recommend playing the game today? I would say yes. It's actually a game that's easy to get into and waste a few hours. It really still looks quite nice. It's easy to run in DOSBox, and I really like that it's a bit more 3D than Master of Orion, even though the 3D is faked and not actual 3D. And it feels quite good to find out how to build up your colonies, how to optimize everything, that you have enough production but still enough population growth and stuff like that. And there's a lot to explore and discover, and texts are quite humorous also, so it's a lot of fun. And I also enjoy the music quite a bit, even though it's maybe a bit repetitive. Unfortunately, the game is currently not available for digital sale, but you can get copies on eBay for around €5, so it's not such a big deal. And if you're planning to play the game, I have one last tip for you. If you hold down the shift key, you get a little help text on your cursor and you can click on stuff to see what it does, which is especially important to see what the buildings actually do that you can build. And you can do that for the ship components as well to get a bit of information that will help you decide what you want to build. So leave a comment if you're planning to play the game again, or if you've played the game back then and what your experience was with it. And as always, I would really appreciate a like, and if you want to see more videos in the future for retro gaming or Star Citizen, just subscribe to the channel. It really helps out growing, and I will be more inclined to do more cool videos in the future. And with that, see ya!